What if writing a book wasn't this lonely struggle? What if it was more like a thrilling adventure with a totally unexpected partner? Well, today we're diving into the pretty incredible story of how a 60-year-old engineer teamed up with an AI and ended up creating something that had, well, never existed before. A living, talking book.
It all starts with this feeling. I think a lot of us know it all too well. You've got this brilliant idea in your head, right? A story you just have to tell, but getting the actual words on the page, it feels impossible. Well, that was the exact problem facing our main character here, Dragosbo.
So to really get what a breakthrough this was, we first got to understand the person at the heart of the story. And he's an engineer who was absolutely convinced he just couldn't write.
All right, so let's meet the man himself, Dragosbo. He's 60 years old. His day job, aircraft engineer and software developer. So, his entire world is built on systems, on logic. He loves informatics, programming, big sci-fi fan, but he was always held back by this one really powerful belief. I'm not a writer. So what was the spark? Well, it was a book called Code. And this book did something amazing. It took these really complex computing concepts and, through incredible storytelling, made them feel vibrant and alive. And Dragos thought, hey, why couldn't I do that for a topic I'm obsessed with, the evolution of intelligence itself? But here's where he hit a wall, a big one. The whole world of professional writing, to his engineering mind, it just seemed alien. It wasn't logical, it wasn't concrete, it was all subjective, dependent on agents and publishers and gatekeepers and just a whole lot of luck. He felt completely locked out. And then everything changed. Something shifted. A brand new character entered the story, and it wasn't a person. It was a piece of technology. And this was the beginning of the real adventure, the adventure of collaboration. Dragos actually came up with this really powerful way of thinking about his new partner, a metaphor. He said AI is like a pair of glasses. It doesn't replace your eyes, right? The world is still the same, your vision is still your vision, but the glasses, they give you the leverage to see your own ideas, but with this stunning new clarity. And this was the aha moment, the point where everything just clicked into place. Suddenly, it wasn't about logic or efficiency anymore. It was about emotion. The text that the AI helped write, it tapped into something so deeply human that, for Dragos, that was it. That was the ultimate proof.
So what happened was, the AI helped write a piece about the tragic life of Alan Turing, and when Dragos read it, it triggered the exact same powerful, almost gut-wrenching emotion he remembered feeling 30 years earlier reading the sci-fi classic Ender's Game. That's when he realized, wow, okay, this thing isn't just a text generator, it can be a real partner, a partner in creating genuine human feeling. And just like that, his whole mindset shifted. Writing went from being this lonely, super frustrating struggle to this grand, thrilling exploration. The AI wasn't just a tool anymore. No, it was the ship. And he was the captain, setting off to discover whole new worlds of ideas. But let's be clear here. This wasn't about just pressing a button and poof, a book appears. Not at all. It was about sculpting. Sculpting a new kind of story through a really unique, dynamic, and deeply collaborative process. And honestly, this is where it gets really, really fascinating. So Dragos described it not as programming, but as sculpting. And I love this analogy. Think of Michelangelo staring at a giant block of marble. He believed the statue of David was already inside it. His job was just to chip away everything that wasn't David. In this case, the human provides the vision, the David, and the AI is that vast block of marble, just full of raw potential. And the partnership works so well because they each brought something totally different but essential to the table. The human? You've got the vision, the judgment, the wisdom from lived experience. The AI? It brings the synthesis, this tireless stamina, incredible pattern recognition, and access to a, basically endless universe of knowledge. They fit together perfectly. But here's the crazy twist on that whole sculpting metaphor. This wasn't just a passive block of marble. Not even close. The AI would actually suggest ideas. It would refine concepts. Sometimes it would even push back on his ideas. It was a real active dialogue. The marble, you could say, was talking back to the sculptor. So, what was the end result of all this? What did this revolutionary partnership actually create? Well, it wasn't just a book. It was something entirely new. A whole new way to interact with knowledge. Let's talk about the Symbiont.
And it all came from this one powerful question. Think about it. We usually see a book as the end of the conversation, right? The author's final word. But what if a book wasn't the end? What if it was just the beginning of a conversation with you, the reader?
Well, the answer to that question is the Symbiont. And what is it? It's a book that's alive. It's not a static, printed thing. It's an evolving, living dialogue between the author's vision, the AI's incredible power to generate content, and this is the key, the reader's own curiosity.
So what does that actually mean? What makes it different? Well, for starters, it can answer your questions in real time as you're reading. It evolves and gets better with community feedback and corrections. It can even incorporate new media on the fly, like diagrams, audio, maybe even video. The whole time, it stays true to the author's voice and vision. It basically becomes this living, breathing interface for knowledge.
Okay, so this is a really amazing story about one man and his book, for sure. But it points to something so much bigger, right? It raises this huge question. What does this mean for the future of creativity for all of us? I think the core message here is just so powerful. So often the conversation around AI is about replacement, about jobs being lost. But this story, it shows us a different path. It's not about replacement, it's about partnership. It's about using this technology to amplify the things that make us most human, our creativity, our curiosity, and our compassion.
And this final quote just captures that philosophy perfectly. It really is a powerful call to action for all of us. Use AI, partner with it. Let it extend your reach way beyond what you thought was possible. But, and this is the important part, always keep the chisel in your hand. Never let go of your own vision, your judgment, your unique human intent.
And ultimately, that's the question this whole story leaves me with, and hopefully leaves you with too. We're stepping into this brand new world of creative partnership. We have these incredible, almost magical tools at our fingertips. Really, the only limit now is our own vision. So the question is, how are you going to use your chisel?